All right. So welcome everyone. It has been a long time since we have met. Jody and I have met, throughout our time that we've been off, just kind of preparing for today and thinking about how we're moving forward. So I'm just going to pull up the agenda that he put into the chat. Nice, and it's very fancy now. This is their format that they have us using. So we have our fancy commissions format. Um, they are doing some things at the with boards and commissions. So seems like they're trying to make sure that everything is unified, like uniform, and so we are part of that here. All right. So, you'll see that we have at the beginning of our agenda kind of the new pieces that are required to be put in there, which are, oh, let's call the meeting to order, which I did not do yet. So we will call the meeting to order. And we will, okay, Raquel's coming back on. So we don't have, as of this point, we're kind of starting fresh. We had some other meetings. I don't know that we have meetings that we have to approve for this one because I feel like we didn't have, it's been a little while. You'll notice that on the agenda, we have the information, obviously our link, our meeting time, and that it's online. And then they have us put in the information about the applications for adding members. So they do have a new process that they're going through with boards and commissions for being able to do this. And they actually have a training or info session, is it, Jody? Is it info session or training? I forget. There are two that are coming up.
Yeah, it's a info session.
Okay. So we can pull up that information and talk about that in a little bit. But we want to make sure that we have done some, we've thought about and talked about in this meeting, folks that we wanted to add and kind of move them into position. And so we can kind of talk a little bit about that and then what that looks like to be able to serve with us. So we can start off by going through our Division of Youth Opportunities updates.
Yes. So let's start with youth violence prevention for the Division of Youth Opportunities. We have SSYI, who has shifted over from Legendary Legacies and Worcester Youth Center as our main case management partners, and now the YMCA is going to be the main case management partner. The contract with the state is going to be for the next 3 years. That means that we're going to be receiving the grant this year and 2 additional years at $685,000. And then we've been working through some of the kinks of, because this was a procurement year and it was very fast turnaround. And on top of that, we were doing a shift to a new company. A lot of the kinks we had to kind of iron out as we've been going in the past few months. The YMCA is set to hire for the program manager for this or next week at the very latest. And we should get the program kickstarted soon overall. We're already talking about Amendment 1 as well, since that's going to be part of the kinks that we kind of have to iron out. With that said, Jen and Angel are going to be partners again for trainings and outreach support, as well as procuring like different services that the guys may need, for the youth that may need overall. Then we have Shannon, Community Safety Initiative. We have,
Before you go in real quick, can I ask a quick question on that? Did
yeah,
Danielle say that they seem like they're on the timeline she wanted for hiring, or
we're a little bit behind.
a little
So
behind? Okay.
yeah, we were hoping that hiring would be done earlier. We were hoping September, if not early October, but we're still not too far off.
Okay.
So, and we hope that we are able to hire the case managers within the next 3 to 4 weeks as well.
Okay.
Um, with that said, I am looking in terms of SSY, I am looking for different trainings and different ways to utilize the money that was not able to be utilized in the first quarter overall.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if there's any questions on SSYI.
No, I don't think so, but yeah, I think in terms of looking for the other trainings, that's something that definitely Angel and I can look into aside from the ones that we are going to be providing.
Yeah.
I know there's multiple other types of
Yeah.
things that would absolutely be useful.
One that I'm looking at in particular is from I forget the full name. It's UPI. I forget what the U stands for, but Peace Institutes. The Urban Peace Institute from California.
Oh, cool.
So I went over to a Legendary Legacies I think last week, and
Hmm.
Ron was telling me about the Urban Peace Institute. So he made the connection for yesterday, and we met. They're gonna send me a catalog of all the trainings that they have, and
Hmm.
also what it would cost to get them out here to do outreach worker training. So the only things is I may be a little bit limited because these are SSYI funds on who I can invite, but I am
Yeah.
trying to figure out how I can make it open and accessible to the rest of the city. So that's the main focus. It may
Hmm.
be that they just allow me to open it for only SSYI. So at that point, I am going to see, like, if that's the case, I will have to make it more accessible for the whole state.
Yeah.
SSYI.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are some of the things I'm looking at. I'm also Danielle's also gonna give me estimates on moving some of the money to supplies so that she could furnish her the office where like the
Yeah.
SSYI is gonna go.
Hmm. Good.
Um, so yeah, moving on to Shannon, we released the RFP back in May, or for the letter of interest. We got everything through, and then we released the RFP in June. And everybody got all their information to me by 2 weeks ahead of the deadline, I think it was.
Mhm.
So we were able to get everything in early, so which is a win. I believe this has been the smoothest process for Shannon so far.
Yay.
We were able to get all the letters needed, everything ahead of time, and then just a few last kinks in that last week before the submission, but everything went through as expected. So right now, I'm working to make sure we send all the contracts to law for review prior to us getting awarded. And then once we get awarded, we'll finalize everything. But the idea is still that there's no gaps in the contract and services that are being rendered.
Mhm.
Um, so hopefully, law will be fast enough once I send everything in so that we can get all contracts signed as soon as we sign the state contract. So that's youth violence prevention. Outside of that, in BYO, Recreation Worcester, obviously it's over, but it had a great summer. This might be actually our best summer yet. It's indicated by all our indicators are up. So I think there was only one little thing that was a little bit down. I can't. Do you remember, Raquel, which one it was? But all the big ones like parent satisfaction, the youth satisfaction, um, all of these indicators were up from previous years, and we had a lot less incidents than usual. So um, everything was smoother this year. So I think every year we're just learning more and getting better and better. Right now we have the Worcester Cares for Kids program. I think Kwame just sent out offers today, and then we'll have a babysitting program cohort opening up soon at some point. And then 2 cohorts. And then Raquel, I don't know if you want to give any updates on the CY chip or in youth agenda.
Yes, we're recording, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes, we're
Just-
recording.
Just checking, just.
Yeah.
So things are going smoothly. We just did the community presentation, the data, and it was really awesome because we had the public schools, we had our research partner, Clark, and we also had the Research Bureau present. And I think between all the groups, there was a lot of like, we can find data that we didn't have access to before. And so our data sets are opening much more. So what the findings will be just like, I think it'll just increase the quality of what the agenda will tell us. The thing that I wanted to add that we're in conversations right now that I'm very excited about, that kind of put things into clarity is, so for the cha, as the first part, which is like kind of what we're doing, right? The youth cha, there needs to be like then a chip. And so for the youth agenda, a lot of something that we didn't have exactly planned out was exactly how we were going to do the work. So like how, if we say we want to address violence with young girls of color, like how is that going to work? And so we did align our Shannon funding to those priorities. We did do that. So like some of that is happening. But the second thing that kind of has emerged is that we have started doing the work with the coalitions of the coalitions, which are 5 coalitions that are like the lifespan that are within the lifespan of a young person. So from before birth all the way until 25. That includes Together for Kids, Investing in Girls, the Worcester Youth Violence Prevention, the Worcester Connection, Worcester and bureaus. And what's the other one?
Coalition for a Healthy Greater
Oh,
Worcester.
yeah. Thank you. Sorry, Casey. And the Coalition for Healthy Greater Worcester. And so what the coalitions of the coalitions are coming together is to identify some cross-cutting strategies. But that table can now also just be the working group for the youth agenda, which is like really exciting that it serendipitously happened, because originally we were coming together to do data sharing and like talk about each other's work. But then what has emerged is that, oh my goodness, we've never gotten in the same room together. We've never seen each other's data. We actually don't really know what each other's strategies are exactly, unless you go to all 5 of the meetings. And that's what I was doing. I was actually going to all of those meetings.
Right.
And so what was the smartest thing to do was for all of us to come together. And now that we did for other purposes, now we have this amazing group that can now carry forth the work of the youth agenda. So that this is like pie in the sky, the forces of really people doing really amazing work, sitting at one single table, and furthermore asking to come up with a fund to be funded to do a planning year that can help propel our work collaboratively together. So I'm also putting in our budget this year. I've already announced it internally that I will be putting a budget this year to fund the work of the youth agenda. At minimum for the coalition to have funding to carry out, continuing to do the data and the work that really is required for an effective child chip. So I'm hoping that we will have we will get that funded, and I have heard directly from the city manager that that is something he wanted me to do, is to put it into the budget. So I feel like this I feel hopeful about being able to not let the work of this year just kind of,
Mhm.
you know, one time thing. I'm hoping that now historically it's going to be part of my budget moving forward.
That is great. Is this something that we would need to provide advocacy for in terms of that funding
Yes,
being in there?
correct,
Okay,
correct.
okay.
And I don't actually, that's a great question because, um, no, I don't know. I guess two things. The first one is advocacy, yes, and how do we elevate the youth agenda?
Hmm.
I think that those are the two things. Like, how do we elevate that this exists, that this is in motion? You know, Tempe does presentations. I do presentations. We, you know, tomorrow I will be presenting to the WEC the roundtable
Okay.
um, to continue elevating. But I do think it would be really helpful for this group to think about. It would actually be really helpful for this group to come up with like a whole strategy on communications. Actually,
Hmm. Okay.
Casey, do you want to say something?
I'm hanging on by a thread, honestly. I'm hanging on by a thread right now. I don't know. I'm like,
No.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah.
No, sorry. No, I don't know.
So, I mean, I think that is a good task for us is to think about a communication strategy, all of the ways in which we can get out information to really elevate the youth agenda, that it exists, that it's, you know, in the process, that it's moving forward, that we need to support, you know, also the funding in DYO to be able to continue to do this and to collect this data. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
so that
The
definitely.
the power of I think that from my experience, funding really comes when it is when something is like championed as like the more and more people refer to it or know about it, the more and more we will secure its future.
Mhm.
Um, so like that's been my motto with like Recreation Worcester, is like making it too big to fail. If I learned anything from the bank crisis, but really, um, it is a big deal to elevate it as much as possible, because then um, it becomes like you can ignore it.
Mhm.
And so I was thinking like it would be really great to have the commission really like, because this was born out of a commission conversation. Like this is where it was born.
Right.
And so like I want to put it back in the hands of the commission in some way. Also because I'm a little bit nervous about like ownership of it. Um,
Yeah.
and I I just want to name that. I'm a little
Mhm.
nervous about ownership of like who owns it. So I really want the commission to own it.
Okay.
And that's not you know, yeah. So
Mhm.
just food for thought.
Yeah. No, I think that's really important. Is there, in terms of ownership, um, does it, I mean, yes, I think you're right. I mean, I remember the initial conversations for around the commission. So I think that makes sense for the commission to own that. Would there be others trying to own this?
I have seen some funny signs around
Okay, okay.
of others trying to
Yeah,
own it.
yeah,
So
no, you don't
That's what
want
I
that.
was gonna ask is where is it gonna go? So if it doesn't go to us, where would it go? You think public health? Is that where it ends up? Or, I mean, who owns the existing cha and chip is owned by the hospitals, or is it owned by the coalition, or
The last, oh yeah, it depends on the day. You ask
yeah,
someone. I mean, officially, I would say, argue the coalition was established to own the Shaw and the chip. That was the whole thing for like convening a central place for doing
Right.
these things.
right.
The hospital has traditionally take much more leadership in the CHA than the chip. The last round of the CHA, DPH took the lead because they were all the hospitals also in transition between Mario and Monica, or Monica and Mario. And so the DPH took the lead. Who's on this call? And so then then when I tried to convene a meeting around the CHA, I got tough pushback that who am I to convene anything around the CHA because DPH owns the CHA. And I was like, really? Like, when did that happen? I never heard that. And so then I had a meeting with Mario and Nikki to be like, all right, what is this? And I had to fight to be recognized as a convening partner of the CHA because they were saying DPH, UMass, and Fallon were the convening partners of the CHA, and we were contracted to do work on the CHA. We weren't actually any leadership position on the CHA, but I fought that, and then they agreed, okay, we are a convening partner on level playing field with Fallon and whoever on the CHA, but that DPH is the lead of the CHA, and then the coalition is the lead on the chip. I don't think the new leadership of DPH will honor that.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I think they're just going to say they own all of them.
And the cha is more the process, and the chip is the product, the plan of how to, right?
Yeah, the CHA is supposed to be like the assessment that they're required to do every 3 years. So that's why they're tied to the CHA because they're required to
Right.
submit a job for their thing. So it's like the assessment, and then the chip is the strategic plan, what you're going to do about it. So the
Right.
CHA is every 3 years and the chip is every 6 years. And
Yeah.
so it's like every two CHAs. But
Oh,
now I heard that, sorry, and I missed this early part of this conversation amongst friends, but now I heard that
We're also being
DPH
recorded. We're also recording.
Okay, and this is recorded for the public?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard that
technically,
everyone is
yeah.
friends. I heard that
mean,
everyone's friends and it's great.
Yeah. I don't know who watches these, but
Yeah, no, yeah.
we
I don't
do
know
have
who
to submit them, so yeah.
That's okay.
I mean, all those things that you just said are just facts that happened.
Yeah, Yeah.
Our hope is moving forward that we can figure this out. But that's why, for me, in order to not create conflict with another division, which is not what I do not want to do,
Yep.
having the commission in that place
Yep.
Allows all of us as the partners, right? Because it's like the coalition is a partner here, DPH is a partner here, DYO is a partner here. It allows all of us to not have to worry about who owns it, which doesn't
Yeah.
create any conflict. But then the commission can be that to
Yeah.
avoid any potential
Yeah.
until we can figure ourselves out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
That's just like a
we don't-
recommendation.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. We also, I mean, the commission, we don't have any DPH partners on the commission either.
Well,
Just
we
stating.
wouldn't because all city offices can be called.
Right.
So yeah.
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 So, just thinking about, the first steps of kind of how we champion this and how we uplift this communication, I'm wondering if the commission should put out like a statement or something that says, hey, we we want to let the community know what we're working on and talk about it so that, and that will be like um, a space for us to, to own it.
Yeah,
Well,
I also want to say,
I'm thinking, why wouldn't we want to put it out there that we think that this is the place where it needs to sit in order to be a nonpartisan convener? I mean, wouldn't you want that to be what drives us to have it? I guess the other thing is I just want to make sure it sits where it's most likely to get replicated and we're able to continue the work of it. And my only caution, I guess, is if they're thinking that the owner means the person that's paying for it, then that might lead them to throw their hands up in the air and say, hey, if there's no money for it, then we can't do it, where I would want them to come up with money. The same entities that need the overall community assessment need this too.
That's true. That is true.
the only last part I would add to that, and even adding more to that, Judy, is that it is in the city strategic plan under DYO.
Yeah.
So that's like a very clear, that's a very clear place of like who is going to be held accountable for this.
Okay.
And
Good.
it is still DYO. That's why I think we're in we're still in the position for the youth commission to have that.
Right.
It was pretty strategic.
Mhm. Mhm, mhm.
It's good.
So yeah, that's
Uh,
just on paper.
So does anyone have any questions about what we've talked about here with the youth chip, the youth chow, the youth agenda?
No.
All right. So, so I think that, coming up with, kind of that like statement to put out, and, to be honest, it actually aligns kind of nicely with this idea. And I mentioned it earlier and I'll talk about it now, that, that the city is having some info sessions for boards and commissions. And part of what they're doing there is, going to share what the process is, but the boards and commissions can share a little bit about like who they are and what they do. So this might be a nice place for us to have kind of this, whether it's like a one pager that says, this is our, this is what we do on this commission. These are the things we're working on. And then we can make sure that the all of that work is in there. So does that sound cool with folks? If we
Yeah, I
create,
think that's a great idea.
okay. So the info sessions are November 19th at 6 p.m. And this is open, it seems, to anybody that is interested in joining a board or commission. Oh, I didn't even write down where they're at, where it is. Hold on.
Live.
The library, is it? Oh no, the
The
senior
city hall.
center.
Oh, the senior center.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's at the senior center. So Wednesday, November 19th at 6 p.m. Is the first one. And then Saturday, December 6th at 10 a.m. Is the second one. And so they're going to have a panel of folks that have served on several different commissions. There are tables, and folks can put like event flyers and stuff like that. So, I mean, we don't really have anything else to give out. So I think this is the perfect time to create a little one pager that can be done there. So,
When was the second one?
the second one is Saturday, December 6th at 10 a.m. So I'm not available for the November 19th one, but I will be at the December 6th one. Do we need to make sure that we have somebody at both to represent the commission? Do you think?
I don't know. That's what they're saying.
I could do the 19th.
You can do the 19th, Judy? Oh, that would be awesome. All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, Judy. All right, so Judy will do the 19th, 6 p.m. Senior Center, and I will do the 6th at 10 a.m. Great. So I'd be happy to kind of draft a one pager that kind of says who we are, what we do, and puts in the language about the all the youth stuff we just talked about. And then I can kind of send it out and see if folks have any edits or whatever. We can do that by email if that sounds all right to folks. All right, so I will do that and I will try to get that out to folks. Let me see. Oh, I can't believe the date already. All right, so it's the 28th. So I will send that by Friday. Just make myself a reminder.
And as far as the table is concerned, like, and the stuff for the table and that stuff, DYO, you guys have that up in your offices up there, or what's up with that? Yeah,
Yeah, I think they're gonna be putting tables together. We have runners and things like that.
okay.
Okay, cool. Awesome. That's great. So we were on the youth agenda, and then I know I just kind of hopped around, sorry, Jody, for that. But while we're kind of on this part about commissions, I want to just jump in really quick to just share that we do have folks that are going to be joining us. So all of you, I think, remember, or you were on last kind of fiscal year when Pam Supernaut had come on. Pam is going to represent the YMCA. She has to go through the process of, for the commission, but she will be joining us, as well as Michaela Tucker Davis from Mass Hire. So they will both be joining us. So we have to figure out how to get them through this process, which I didn't really look at, but Jody, I know you did. So
Yeah, it goes through HR now.
Okay. Awesome. And then the other person that we did reach out to was Lucia Alfaro from Girls Inc. And she really does want to do it, but at this moment she can't, but she has expressed interest in doing it in the future. So she just said, like, she has to get through this fall with the what am I trying to say? Commitments that she already has, but then she would like to explore, like, for next year coming on. So we kind of have somebody future in the pipeline. So that's good.
Wow, healthy boundaries.
Right? And she said it to me, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been trying to save that. Trying to do exactly what you just did to me.
He
Yeah,
was
that
actually one of the first people that like came in and did Youth Connect training and try with the kids and that whole healthy boundary thing.
Mhm.
So way back, she was like one of the first ones that got in my head about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that I did anything, but yeah.
Right. But it is great when you see other people doing it. You're like, oh yes, that's what that
Mhm.
looks like.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm aspiring toward. But yeah, so I think we're in a good position with adding two others and then having somebody kind of in the pipeline that we're thinking about. And if we can kind of consistently think about others who would be interested in joining, I think that we'll be in a good place with that. So that feels good. All right. So youth employment, did we have stuff that you wanted to add under there, Cody?
So Raquel and I wanted to talk about youth employment because we are already expecting huge cuts for next year in terms of funds that are going to youth employment overall. And we thought this would be the perfect place to kind of talk about it, number one, and possibly create plans around advocacy and what we would kind of look into what we would need to do to advocate, whether that's with the city manager or whoever, to figure out how to minimize the impact of youth employment issues that are coming up. So the first thing that we are aware of is that there's going to be a funding cut for YouthWorks, which is the biggest youth employment, specifically in the summer. Raquel, do you remember what percentage what the cut is going to be for next year?
They were saying, shoot, no, I cannot remember off the top of my head.
I can't remember if
But
it
it's
was
gonna
20.
be, that's what they were saying a month ago, or 2 months ago, but even like from now till then, I expect it to be way worse.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the
And so-
questions I kind of had about this, and knowing who I'm talking to, I'm sure you've already thought about it. But some of that leftover money that you weren't able to spend, is there any way to pre-spend on this
From
instead of
Like
are you saying from what I
SSYI?
was saying on SSYI earlier?
right?
So no, because SSYI would be tied directly to the grant. So
We could spend it on anyone in the SSYI program that wanted to work. We could, yeah, we could. And we have moved dollars over to our employment partner in the past. But the irony of this all is that sometimes they can't spend it down
Right.
because it has to be specifically the people on the list of SSYI. And that's a whole other complicated employing them is another whole
That whole
complicated.
matching, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
to the
Mhm.
people.
So yes, and I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I also want to mention that I don't know what happened to that. Maybe we didn't hear back, but as a city, we applied to, a state grant to help us like increase employer engagement. And so I don't know what happened to that. We
Was this
applied
the one we did with Mass Hire?
yeah,
Yeah. I don't
right?
know. That's a good question. I remember
Yeah.
going to the meetings. I remember when the grant was written and submitted, and then I don't remember anything else that happened. So,
Yeah,
okay.
maybe it's the government
Hmm.
shut down. But, I don't know.
Hmm.
But I don't know. We never heard back. But I do think that if we get that money or not, we need to be doing something regardless. And so I was thinking that the commission would be a great place to to make waves somehow in the community to, I don't know, do a campaign, something for youth employment, because
Yeah.
it's going to be rough, and we need people. And I mean, I think the hard part of this, which we know is going to happen, is that just like back in 2008, a whole bunch of elderly people will be competing with
I
youth
know.
for
I know.
jobs that historically have been left for youth, which is like
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible that people that are retired that need to go back into the workforce And then not only that, that was that. Now it's like everybody that has lost their jobs.
Right, right.
So it's a whole different problem that it's
Mhm.
not just people that are retired, but now everyone else that have lost their jobs will be competing for youth employment.
Yeah.
For example, for our application for the program coordinator position for Shannon and SSYI, we have had like 260 or something crazy up people apply. Where like 5
That's
years ago we would get like 23.
that's
Just
unreal.
to
Wow.
give, just like to give it some like
Yeah.
And you had
stats.
to beat the bushes for them.
And
Yeah,
I have like a lot of master's level people applying, researchers, like, high paying, they come from high paying jobs looking for anything.
Hmm.
I do want to mention that I believe the youth works cut is going to be 40%. Um,
Wow.
I think it's I'll double check and report back, but I believe it's 40%. We're
yeah,
also getting a 20% reduction in Shannon, or anticipated reduction, and we did get a 1% reduction in
that's why.
SSY overall in the state, although we got cut $15,000.
It's wild because I feel like with the youth employment, did we ever catch up when they had gotten that 70% cut a few years ago. And now it's like we've been diminished so small and now an additional 40%. And
Yeah,
we
so
really got to catch up.
and
It's like
and
side jobs.
yeah, and the city's answer for that was ARPA funds, which we have they're not available anymore. Um, I do want to mention another thing is that I was at a statewide SSYI meeting where Glenn from EOHHS mentioned that as of last week, Massachusetts had already lost about $3.3 billion in funding from federal government, and it was expected to continue to rise significantly. And that was like coming off in a 2 week span of a 1.1 billion loss. So, and then 2 weeks later, it was 3.3.
Wow. Yeah, it's a very sobering state where we are. And I just, with everything, and thinking about like, I think it's important to bring up while we're talking about the cuts, to think about, with the SNAP benefits getting cut and all of these other pieces, how this is affecting our young people here in the city.
Ha-
Yeah,
Have you felt like there's more or less reach from the public schools to partner in this mess?
Mm,
Nothing.
I haven't felt
Certainly
any.
no.
I uh um there has been small um there has been some things that the Worcester Public Schools have been much more open to do. For example, um I'm working with them to like eliminate any organization that is paying rental fees for the school buildings. And
Yeah.
I've already had success with like several. And as I keep hearing, I keep going back to the schools and being like, you're charging them, you're charging them. As a matter of fact, I don't know because most schools actually they just have a meeting with me because I think I've asked too much. I'm getting the feeling that I've asked too many times, but I'm like, this is what you said you would do, and
Right.
and so I think what they were thinking was what we will do moving forward, because what I'm doing is I'm going backwards. So I'm going to people that are paying already and
Right.
having that eliminated, and
Mhm.
I don't think they I don't think they love that, and so I think.
Well, I'm sure they don't.
So I wouldn't say that things are moving forward. I hope this conversation is just
Mhm.
more collaborative ways.
Yeah, but the argument is these are agencies already partnered, and in order for them to continue with the capacity to do that work and continue the strong partnership that they've already have, that has to be eliminated. Otherwise, you're going to lose partners. So, wow.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what, that's as far as I got from the schools. We
Yeah.
could,
It
again,
seemed, I'm sorry, but it just seemed that, I don't know, the thing that I went to a couple weeks ago, WEC was putting it on, or along with Worcester Community Action Council. You, I'm not sure you guys were there. I don't know. There was a lot of comment around the public schools engaging in collaboration with community partners. And
Mhm.
we've heard that conversation so many times. I hate to have it put on the books again unless there's some change in the way they work with us. I know there's, potentially Brian ends up being better at that, but I don't know. So,
Mhm.
yeah, just wondering.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very easy thing to default to, and it's not an easy thing to make
Right.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. All right.
so
So,
yeah, I guess the question is, do we want to take, do we, wait, Brian, is that, what are the schools saying? What are you hearing on your end as like wrapped around, and like, is there like a call, is there any call to action? Is there any, yeah, what are the schools saying? Are you hearing anything?
As far as like the partnerships with community partnerships.
Or like even about like the SNAP benefits?
Oh, honestly, I haven't
Wait,
heard
sorry,
too
what are you
much, but
talking about? Are you talking about SNAP?
We're saying if he's hearing anything from the schools from like wraparound, like to
I know
respond.
about this. I know about
Oh,
this. Hold on, sorry. I met with several of schools today. Um, sorry, but Courtney, sorry if you have other things to say.
no,
I didn't mean to cut you
you're
off.
probably way more in tune. I'm just like
Okay.
I'm not privy.
Yeah, so it is, sorry. Like it is very likely that Snap is almost positively not gonna come through on November 1st. And maybe not for all of November. And so people get issued Snap between the 1st and the 14th. So it's like only 1/14 of the population will like not have Snap each day. There's also some confusion, I'll just say with right now it will still show that you have a positive SNAP balance. It will still show that that you were allotted November benefits, which is going to be like mass confusion because then people are going to go to the grocery store and then they're not going to work. So they're trying to correct that, but that is like a major messaging crazy world. But the things that are true also is your carryover benefits will still be there. So like if you didn't use all of your benefits, you all carryover benefits will still work. Healthy incentives program benefits will also work. The HIP program, if you have at least 1 penny on your card, it will work. You have to have a
oh,
positive balance. You can't have
good.
zero.
That's
But if
good.
you
I was going to ask that because I saw a video and they were like, well, they said $1, but 1 penny good.
yeah, it's just
They said
in
it, they
one
said
penny.
save. They were like, save at least $1 so that you can at least use HIP benefits. Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
so if you have at least a penny, it will work. And you can get, 46 or $8 that you can use at farmers market, CSAs, farm stands, and there's a website called Hip Finder or something. I'll send stuff out too that you
Okay.
can find it because the REC two big farmers markets closed, but they have the mobile market options and the indoor market at the youth center will open too. But the push so that USDA has the money, they just won't release it because they're jerks. And I don't care if that's recorded. And they have the money. They have like money in their contingency fund, like unaffected by the
Yes, yes.
shutdown. They could release, and they're not releasing it because
Oh
they're just
my
trying to
God.
be jerks. But then there was a rally at the State House today to ask the governor to release state funds that would cover benefits. They could
Oh.
do that too. They have a
Oh.
rainy day fund they could use, and the governor is not using them now too, because it's like a political battle. There's still a possibility they might be able to pressure her to do it, but there's also some conflicting evidence where the um some of the federal advocates are saying don't use state funds, because then the Trump administration is going to go around and say, oh, you can use state funds, now you pay for SNAP, and they can't sustain it, and then SNAP will go away. And so
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
like a scary, weird thing too.
Yeah.
But they were trying to push for the governor to use the rainy day fund, but so she felt like she had to respond. So she had a emergency press conference on Friday, and she announced she's giving a bunch of money to United Ways, that they're going to distribute money. But it's
Oh.
like, people having money on their SNAP cards is the easiest way to do it. That's how people pay for grocery stores, not in gift. But
Right.
so I've been working with Tim and some people from the city on how to distribute the money, because Tim has gotten some matching money for Worcester. It looks like we will have like close to $1 million. And we're looking at buying gift cards. I've been trying to push them to buy gift cards, not food, because the food also has to be sorted and redistributed for safety. It won't get out to people right away. But if we just give people gift cards, we can do it. So I've been pitching, I had a meeting this morning, like I've had like 5 emergency meetings every day, to have like 3 major channels of distribution for the resources: Worcester Public Schools, WCAC, with fuel assistance, because fuel assistance is also an emergency. So if we could couple that with some of their fuel assistance funds, and they have
Yeah.
strict numbers on how many fuel assistance recipients also have SNAP, and then also Family Resource Center, so you could get like unaffiliated people being able to call to be able to access them, and then started some like particular pockets for like veterans, disabled community members, like particular pockets that will have smaller amounts of funds, and probably have $100 gift cards that we give. So everybody agreed. So Worcester Public Schools just said their policy is they're not allowed to give gift cards. So we just give out gift cards that would be distributed through RAPS. So we probably about 150,000 through that, but we just raised that to the superintendent to try to get like special permission to be able to distribute gift cards. Otherwise, we'd have to like vet people in the schools and then like refer them to get them somewhere else at WCAC or something like that.
Yeah, that's odd. What about Worcester Housing Authority as a partner?
Yeah, potentially Worcester Housing Authority too. It's just that the thing is also, it's just that particularly maybe Worcester Housing Authority for seniors too. It's
Yeah.
just that
Yeah.
we won't have enough. Like
Yeah.
we're not going to have enough for the number of SNAP recipients. So we're,
Right.
there's, I think
Do we know that number?
25,000.
Oh,
There's
that's
like
what I was gonna say, in Worcester.
55,000 Worcester residents, like 25,000 households.
Mm.
And so we just won't have enough to give it to everyone. But we're just trying to figure out like who are like the most trusted messengers. Honestly, my big push was like pushing, like, don't just give it through mini grants to organizations, because it won't be equitably or organized in a way. Like I was like, no, we need like big institutions with contact with the populations to get it out to people they can verify and know have lost SNAP. So that is, yeah, that's all happening. We're also developing like, so our communications team, Deb Powers, and I pulled in the communications Mike Matt Moore from the city to meet today. They met today at 12 in order to develop like a 1-pager that's like, here you can go to your food pantries, you can, seek resources with your RAPs at schools, you can do, like just going through some specific things. And also for people who want to help, they can also coordinate on that. The faith-based institutions are also collecting gift cards, which is confusing because now it's also like everyone's gonna and Bureau's leading that, and everyone's gonna pay attention to that, and it's gonna be like slightly crazy. And they're like, we should have a conference about that. I'm like, no, don't have a press conference about that, because that's gonna be confusing. Because that's probably gonna raise like $1,000, and this is $1 million. We need to like coordinate these systems, but yeah, we're trying to like centralize the distribution and communication systems, which is possible. Hopefully we'll have a flyer by tomorrow. If anything, by Thursday, there's going to be a press conference at 4 at City Hall, which is when this Coalition of Coalitions meeting is at City Hall. So I flagged that for Lori. David Cora is asking for Lori to move that meeting. What do you all think about that?
Yeah, I think the press conference is more important,
Yeah, yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
And I don't even have the other one in my calendar, so.
You were gonna go anyway. Yeah, the 30th at 4 is supposed to be the funders thing.
Oh, I don't know why I'm not even on that one, but that's okay. So, oh, the 30th. Wait,
Yeah.
today's, oh, Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah, Thursday.
Is that, and the press conference is that day or tomorrow's Wednesday?
No, it's Thursday. Press
Right,
conference
tomorrow,
also
okay.
Thursday at 4.
Oh.
Hopefully now the flyer tomorrow. So I
Oh,
can
the
start
flyer.
getting that out, but
Mhm.
but we will have to have it by Thursday.
Okay, okay. And this
Those
might
are-
be a dumb question, but like, there's no way to partner with actual like DTA?
There is, but I mean, well, I don't know locally. I don't think locally.
Yeah.
Statewide
Okay.
they could, but not locally. We
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
get just Worcester to get SNAP.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
okay.
it would have to
I
be
see.
state.
Yeah, gotcha.
And that's
Okay.
about 250 million. It would cost for the month of November.
Wow. Wow.
But the governor just announced today that she gave 20 million for the World Cup. So there's money for that.
Wow. Yikes. Okay, well, this is such important information. I hope the schools will be able to do the gift cards through the schools because that will be huge. Wow. Okay. And thank you. Jody put in the chat, the governor put the webpage together that shows the impact of what's going on with all of these cuts. So that's really important for us to pay attention to. So thank you for sending that. Good way to see that all in one place. All right, go back here. All right, was there anything else that anyone had at this point? You know, to recap for what we're working on, we will be uplifting multiple different things. The youth employment piece, you know, and really focusing in on trying to get folks to, you know, see that as urgent, an urgent need with all of the cuts coming forward. The youth chip, the youth agenda, and that'll be done through a one pager to start, and then kind of working on how to make sure we have a communication plan for that. The info sessions on the 19th and the 6th, we will be staffing those. Judy has the 19th and I have December 6th. So we will have the information for that. And so I'll get, by Friday, I said I was gonna get you all the kind of one pager piece out to review and suggest any edits that you see. And then kind of just paying attention to what's going on currently in the state of, you know, our young people and families through all of these funding cuts. And so to kind of be vigilant around, you know, the information, staying on top of the information, getting to any of the press conferences and things that we can. So Casey can keep us posted on the information that comes out tomorrow, and then the press conference for Thursday. Did I miss anything for updates, Jody? Okay. All right, great. All right, well, I want to thank you all for being on here, and it's really good to see you all, and we will continue forward with our next meeting being in November. We met off of our kind of normal schedule, So our next meeting in November, oopsie,
18.
okay, November 18th, there we go. November 18th.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.
Motion to
Bye.
adjourn?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
No, that's
Let's
okay. I was
adjourn.
just doing it very quickly.
great. Thank you. Thanks, Virginia.